If you are playing the Modern Warfare 4 beta on PC and the game either looks blurry, feels inconsistent, or you're getting way less FPS than you expected, there are a few settings you need to change in order to get better results. I've been testing the beta on an RTX 5080 setup, specifically looking at three things: maximum FPS, better enemy and environmental visibility, and most importantly, consistent frame times. With these changes, some of the settings I expected to be obvious wins actually weren't, so in this video I'm going to be going through the settings I'd actually use for competitive play while keeping the game from looking like complete garbage. Before we get into the settings, I want to make one thing clear: these are not balanced settings designed to make the game look as pretty as possible. These are the settings I'm using specifically to maximize FPS, frame time consistency, visibility, and input response. On my system, I'm able to push roughly 300 to 400 FPS without frame generation, which is already well beyond what most players are going to see in Modern Warfare 4. So this means when I recommend turning something down, it's not because the setting looks bad, it's because the extra visual quality is not worth giving up the performance or latency for. You can absolutely crank shadows, reflections, effects, and other eye candy higher, but at that point you're spending GPU headroom on visuals that do very little to help you actually win a gunfight. The goal of this setup is simple: we're keeping the image clear, keeping the latency low, and keeping the game running as fast and consistently as your hardware allows. If competitive performance is your priority, this is the direction to go. Okay, so starting with the display settings, these are where some of the convenience things kind of get tweaked. So full screen exclusive is the best display mode. This gives you more FPS. The reason that you would go to borderless is so that you can alt-tab faster, go between different screens, but if you're not doing that constantly, or you can bear with the alt-tab times, go exclusive. It'll give you more FPS, it'll be lower latency since you don't have to go through unnecessary desktop compositing. For your display monitor, adapter, screen refresh rate, display resolution, stuff like that, you can go through and tweak your resolution. There might be better alternative screen refresh rates at lower stuff. Like I know some TVs can do 4K 60, or they can do 1440p 144 Hz. Obviously you're giving up some resolution, but you're getting more refresh rate, which will lower your input lag. So basically that's kind of those settings. If you're on a laptop or something like that, make sure you're using your real graphics card, not the one that's in your CPU, the integrated graphics. Shader preloading on. And then you can also restart that if you're having issues. This might be a troubleshooting measure, so you can always try doing that. It does take a little bit to load. I don't have any display gamma or brightness tweaks, nothing really to do there. And then NVIDIA Reflex low latency. I have this turned on because I have a static graphics card overclock in MSI Afterburner. If you don't, you can turn it on plus boost, or you can experiment with turning it off. I know some games that you get a lot of FPS in do actually get a benefit from not using the reflex buffer, but I keep it on in this game because you're not actually getting that many FPS. Then you have the power saving stuff. I do custom and I do no power saving, no VSync in the game, no VSync in the menus, and unlimited frame rates. If you do want to cap your frame rate so that you don't use too much GPU, you can come in here and tweak it. I recommend putting a custom frame rate, whatever you're looking to shoot for with your FPS, in all three. That way your menus are smooth, your out of focus is smooth, and your in-game is smooth. It just helps make everything more smooth. For reduced menu render resolution, I just do native. I have a 1440p monitor. I want it rendering at 1440p. It just looks nice. Doesn't actually impact the game at all. And then we have pause game rendering off, reduce quality when active off. This stuff just kind of makes the barrier to alt-tabbing back in if you have borderless a little bit more friction because it has to start rendering up again. Okay, now my graphics quality settings are actually very simple. So here is what you're gonna want to do in order to get the max FPS. You're going to be wanting to use upscaling/sharpening as NVIDIA DLSS. For your DLSS preset, if you're on 1440p, use performance. If you're on 1080p, use balanced or quality. With your DLSS sharpness, crank it. It is going to give you more visibility. It's absolutely worth it. It's not gonna over sharpen or anything. It's gonna look right. With your NVIDIA DLSS model, use CNN Legacy. The reason why is transformer. Yes, it reduces ghosting. Yes, maybe micro, finer detail will look better, but it takes a modest FPS and VRAM overhead. Even the description tells you it takes a modest FPS and VRAM overhead. Do not use transformer. It is really not that noticeable. Use CNN, even though it's marked Legacy. It is just better for pretty much every graphics card for FPS. We also do not use frame generation here at all. It's basically cheating. You're actually lowering your real FPS, and it does not really help your 1% lows that much, so it's still gonna feel like oddly jittery. It is not worth using, even if you think you're running at lower FPS than you could be, and this fixes it. It doesn't really do that. It's actually gonna make you play worse, and it's gonna look kind of off. With your post-processing effects, do not use these post-processing effects. One, because it adds render latency to the end of your pipeline for rendering. Two, look at these, it's motion blur. You do not want more motion blur on your stuff. World depth of field basically makes it like your cross-eyed. Do not use any of this stuff. It is terrible for latency, and it is terrible for visual fidelity. For details, textures, and everything else, I just have it the lowest possible. You can go through and tweak stuff. Like here, I have it normal, but really it should be low. I'm just kind of playing around with it. A lot of these don't really make a difference on their own. So if you're trying to go for higher visual fidelity or something like that, for whatever reason, you're playing the campaign or something, they really work hand in hand. Texture resolution, texture filtering, stuff like that. So just turning up one of these to high doesn't really do anything for you. And most people will actually notice that if you just go through, turn one of these settings on. Like, yeah, you might notice a slight difference in like some little thing, but really they all work together. And so it's either basically kind of an all or nothing kind of setting for most of this stuff to get visual fidelity out of. All right, and then the last settings that we have are view. These are pretty subjective and I don't really like covering them, but we're just gonna give you the basic settings. So FOV and third person FOV. If you're further away from your screen and it's a bigger screen, you can go lower. If you're closer to your screen and it's a smaller screen, you can go higher. The only objective thing about these is that if you turn your FOV lower, it gives you more FPS. With enhanced FOV, it basically just makes the center of your screen bigger, like a lens. I have this off because, again, I don't want to throw off my aim and stuff like that. You can turn it on and probably be successful. It's just kind of a weird setting to turn on in 2026 if you've been playing for a while. If you like how it looks and you're not going to throw yourself off that much, you can turn it on. Not really that objective. The other thing is vehicle field of view. I have this wide. It expands your peripheral field of view if you're in Warzone or if there's cars in multiplayer. I think this is kind of a rare setting, so it's not that big of a difference maker, but I do have it on wide just to get that extra advantage. And then for camera, these two are the big settings: first person camera movement and third person camera movement. We keep those at minimal 25%, or we don't keep them, we change them to minimal 25%. And this is basically just to reduce camera shake from grenades going off, shooting your gun, stuff like that. It's just visual noise, it's not worth having on. Third person ADS transition, you can play around with this if you are in a third person game mode. And then the last, inverted flashbang, I keep off. The logic here is with inverted flashbang off, you're fading from white. If you're in a dark room, fading from white means that things are still visible around you, where if you have that turned on, if you're in a dark room and you're fading from black, things are pretty hard to see, and being darker doesn't really help. So that is why I have these view settings the way that they are. All right, so that's the setup I'm running for Modern Warfare 4 right now. The whole point here is just to cut the settings that cost performance without giving you anything meaningful back in a fight. And if your PC can push high frame rates, you should be using that headroom for lower latency, cleaner frame times, and better responsiveness, not wasting it on effects you're barely going to notice once the match starts. If you try these settings out, drop your specs and FPS in the comments below. I want to see what kind of performance people are getting across different hardware. And if you appreciated these settings, make sure to like and subscribe.